Welcome to the deep dive. So, you've shared this really thoughtful document with us, preparing for high school.pdf.
Hmm.
And looking at it for your situation, what really struck us is, well, it's not just about the student, is it? It shines a light on your journey too, as the parent or caregiver.
Absolutely. Yeah, what's great about this document, the one you've provided, is how it frames this whole thing. It's not
Yeah.
just, new school, new timetable.
Right.
It's a real transition, like turning a page, starting a whole new chapter. In this book you've been reading together. You can tell it's written with real understanding.
Yeah, it really hit home for me when it said, high school isn't just the next chapter, it's the beginning of a whole new book. Thinking about that for you, it feels like more than just a bigger building or harder subjects.
Hmm.
This seems like such a key time for your child finding themselves, learning to tackle bigger stuff, forming those, really important relationships.
And making decisions that actually matter.
Exactly. Decisions that start shaping who they're becoming.
And the document wisely, I think, points out that while your kid is navigating all that, your role as the parent, it's changing too. It's a bit of a balancing act, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Offering support, but also giving them that space to grow, something we should definitely dig into more for you.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack some of that. Starting with that look back the document prompts you to take. It has these like little snapshots
Those are great.
from tentative first steps to first grade backpacks too big for their shoulders. From scraped knees to science fair projects. It really paints a picture.
From spelling tests to social shifts, from lunchtime giggles to locker room anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As you read that, it really makes you stop and think about everything that led to this moment for your child, doesn't it?
it does. But what's really insightful, I think, is how it points out this journey wasn't just theirs.
Exactly. The document says you've witnessed the whole thing. Not just their growth, but your own. That shared history, that journey you've been on side by side. It really highlights the emotional weight of this for you both. Precisely. It's like you've both been main characters in this story, and now you're kind of standing on the edge of something big, together, sure, but their path is starting to branch off more.
And that's where the real significance of these high school years comes in for your child's development. The document points to key areas, shaping their identity more on their own terms,
Independently. Yeah.
learning how to deal with challenges, risk, even failure, and figuring out how to recover, making decisions that have actual consequences, but, within a safety net.
Discovering those big relationships too, friends, mentors, maybe first crushes.
Right. All of that.
That phrase, stumble and soar on their own terms, that really got me. For you as the parent, it nails that tension, right? You want to guide them, support them.
But you have to let them try things, learn from their own experiences.
Yeah. And the shift it mentions from being told who they are to deciding for themselves. Wow, that's huge.
It is. It's a massive change. And the document, it digs deeper than just logistics, new building, new schedule. It stresses the symbolic meaning of this transition, calling it the first chapter of self-authored identity.
Self-authored identity. Think about that for your child. They're starting to write their own story now, much more consciously.
Mm-hmm. And that means your role shifts too. The document calls it moving from protector to partner in growth. That's a really important distinction for you to hold on to.
Partner in growth. I like that.
Yeah, it means you start imagining their life beyond just the family, and crucially, trusting the foundation you've already built.
Mm-hmm.
The document acknowledges how complex this feels for you. A loss and a celebration, it says.
Letting go while staying close.
Right. And simply love, grown up. Your relationship is just evolving.
Okay, so then the document looks ahead at specific milestones your kid might hit. And it's interesting how it frames them not just what they are, but the deeper meaning, like the first date or relationship.
Yeah, it's not just about awkward dates, is it? It's framed as a chance to explore intimacy, boundaries, and self-worth.
That's a much bigger perspective.
It is, and it talks about developing relational literacy.
Mm.
Basically, your child learning to read social cues, communicate better in relationships, handle disagreements, maybe even rejection. Huge life skills.
Definitely. And then, okay, getting a driver's license. The document says it's about trusting them with literal control. That's quite a way to put it when you think about it for yourself.
It is powerful, isn't it?
Right.
Like a real-world rehearsal for all the other big life choices coming down the line.
And even something that seems maybe more routine, like a first job or volunteering.
Right. It frames those in terms of your child building independence, learning time management, and this is important, getting feedback and accountability from adults outside the family.
Expanding their world.
Exactly, broadening their sense of responsibility.
And I really appreciated the take on experiencing a first real failure. Not getting the part, failing a test, losing a friend.
Things we often want to shield them from.
Right. But the document says these aren't things to avoid. They're turning points for resilience, reflection, and repair.
That reframing is so important for your child. It changes the focus from just the outcome to, well, learning and growing through the tough stuff.
Hmm.
And it points out how even choosing friend groups is part of forming their identity, sometimes reinventing it.
As they figure out who they are, who they connect with.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, the bigger choices start appearing. Electives, sports, clubs, maybe even first thoughts about careers. And it includes that first moral decision, too.
Standing up for someone, admitting a mistake,
Yes.
yeah, building their moral backbone.
So the big takeaway here for you reading this is these moments, they build internal scaffolding, as the document puts it.
Right, they're not just separate events, they're building the structure that helps them handle life.
Mm-hmm.
And the advice for you is key. Guide them, don't give them a rigid plan. These are becoming moments, not a checklist.
That leads really nicely into a part I found, well, quite moving. The lasts that matter, too.
Yeah.
It talks about those quieter moments, like the last time they'll hold your hand in public without thinking, or the last time they ask you for help with homework without hesitation.
Or the last time they cry in front of you without trying to hide it.
Yeah.
These really hit you, don't they? Especially as you reflect on your own kids.
They really do. It taps into that undercurrent of emotion in this transition for you. These lasts, they can easily get missed with all the new stuff happening.
But they signify a real shift, don't they? A quiet move towards their independence.
And that caregiver insight it offers is just so simple but powerful. Don't chase the moments. Just notice them and let them land softly in your heart.
It's a gentle nudge for you, isn't it? Be present. Appreciate these little connections, even as things change.
Which brings us right to how your role evolves. The document is clear. You are no longer just the manager.
Right. You become
Coach who helps them prep.
an anchor they can return to.
And a quiet cheerleader who doesn't need the spotlight.
I love that last one. Always there, but in the background.
And that line, you don't need me the same way, but you still need me, and I'm still here. Wow, that probably hits home for you, thinking about how your connection is changing.
Definitely. And it elaborates, saying your role is less director, more consultant.
Consultant, okay?
You become a trusted guide, not the main character, a mentor, not the hero, a safe landing, not the pilot, and a mirror, not the mold.
Those are really helpful ways to think about it, aren't they? How your role shifts in this new phase.
Absolutely. And practically, what does that look like? Well, shifting from telling them what to do to asking how they want to approach it.
Right, giving them more agency.
Listening for the emotion behind their choices, not just the logic, and offering options maybe instead of ultimatums. It's about empowering them.
Okay, but the document also gets real about something you might be seeing or worrying about. That potential for, well, disconnection.
Mm-hmm. Teenagers spending more time alone, maybe online, sharing less. The eye rolling.
Yeah, the eye rolling. And it's reassuring, actually, to read that this is often developmentally appropriate.
Right. They're practicing being independent, figuring out how to manage their own feelings. It's usually not about rejecting you.
That's important to remember.
Definitely. And the document gives some good practical tips for you to stay connected, like having regular rituals, maybe Sunday breakfast or a specific night for something.
Simple things.
Simple things. Or sending short text. Saw this, thought of you, not demanding info, just connecting.
Yeah.
And respecting their space, but making it clear you're there when they do want to talk.
Another big part of growing up is learning about risk. And the document has a really good section on helping them take calculated risks.
Yeah, it stresses that growth means stepping outside the comfort zone, but, safely.
So how do you support that? Well, encouraging them to try for things that are challenging.
Saying yes to healthy challenges, owning mistakes and fixing them.
And your role in that. Providing support by, say, setting clear boundaries around dating, driving, parties.
Talking through what-if scenarios. Importantly, letting them feel some discomfort sometimes and try again.
That bit really stood out for me, for you to keep in mind. Give them room to try, fail, and recover without breaking their spirit. It's all about building that resilience.
Exactly, and it clarifies what calculated risk means. Like staying out a bit later, but with an exit plan. taking harder classes, dating, trying out for things.
Things that involve potential vulnerability or failure.
Right. And it gives you actionable steps. Talk about exit strategies, practice saying no or setting boundaries. Praise the effort, not just the win. It's about that safety net again, letting them explore, but with support.
The document also gives these reflective ready phrases, little things you might actually say.
Oh yeah, those are useful.
Like, I'm proud of who you're becoming, not just what you do. Or, high school will stretch you, but you're more ready than you think.
And it's okay to not know who you are yet. Let's keep discovering together. They feel really genuine, don't they? Supportive.
They do. They shift the focus from just grades or achievements to the actual process of growing up, which fits the whole message. And it also mentions those internal transitions you might not see.
Ah, yes. This stuff going on inside. Like how they start seeing you differently, not as a superhero maybe, but as human.
Or grieving childhood a bit. Testing out big ideas, philosophy, justice, activism.
And the advice there for you is great.
Yeah.
Be a sounding board, not a shutdowner, even if you don't agree with where their head's at right now.
That phrase, I may not agree with you, but I respect how you're thinking this through. That's powerful for keeping communication open.
Absolutely. Then, near the end, it gives you these final reflections for the parent. Direct questions for you to ponder.
Like, how can I be present without hovering? That's a classic parent struggle, right?
Totally. And what part of this transition scares me? And what's that really about? Getting you to look at your own stuff.
And am I giving them space to become someone even I don't expect? Whew, that's a big one.
These are really vital questions for you as you go through this. They make you look inward at your own feelings and expectations. And others like, have I updated how I show love?
To meet how they now receive it?
Yeah.
And am I making room for their independence without reading it as rejection? These really cut to the chase of that changing dynamic.
It really does. And it all leads to this beautiful, evocative image of home.
Right.
The document reminds you, even when they eventually leave, what you build with them now, the trust, the laughter, the freedom, the faith, will go with them.
That's lovely.
It powerfully says, you are still their home. It uses those metaphors. Hold the door open. Keep the porch light on.
It's just so reassuring, enduring, and it wraps up with this really empowering idea for you. They're not your kid entering high school. They're their own person, and you help build the foundation they'll now walk on.
That gives you chills almost.
It does. And that final encouragement, let them walk, let them fall, let them fly, and stay close enough to catch them if the wind cuts too sharp.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful way to frame it all for you.
It really is. This document you shared, it's such a rich resource for you, for understanding and navigating this huge shift. It reminds you it's a journey for everyone involved. Full of challenges, yes, but also huge opportunities for growth and for connecting in new ways.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this document. Let us take a really valuable deep dive into this key time for you and your child. I think the big takeaway for me is just how profound this period is for both of you and how it really asks for a conscious shift in perspective and approach from you as the parent.
Absolutely. And maybe as you think about those lasts we talked about and how your relationship is evolving, perhaps consider what's one small way you could consciously adjust your approach, maybe in the next few weeks or months, as this new chapter really gets going for your child.
That's a good question to ponder.
And you might even think about other big transitions in life, right? Where these ideas, letting go, supporting growth, redefining relationships, might also come into play. It's got broader relevance.